Okay. This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5, the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by posting on the bulletin board in the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers. A list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, May 26, 2015. In addition, a copy of this notice has been made available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Now, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing
Since he's not here.
for the invocation by Deputy Mayor Francois.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
Ms. McCarthy, please call the roll.
Councilman Chase, Deputy Mayor Francois,
Here.
Mayor Kelly,
Here.
Councilman Kramer,
Here.
Councilman Prasad, Councilman Regan, Councilwoman Sherman,
Here.
Councilman Vasanella,
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Here.
Okay. We are up to the presentation of the Community Foundation Grant for Second Chance for Animals.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Come on up. I was going to say, I see him rubbing his hands there, waiting for this check. So real quickly, there's something called the Community Foundation, which is an organization that was mainly funded back probably going over 15 years ago now by the Heller Corporation, which bestowed a certain amount of money onto the township that we can make a little bit of money on, so to speak, and bestow the small amounts of principal or dividends we get as grants to good organizations, charities, events that benefit Franklin and its residents that otherwise have run out of options sometimes. There's not necessarily grants or enough money to be raised otherwise. So although we don't have much to give, when we can, we try to give small grants out that could really be the lifeblood of keeping some of these organizations and programs alive. So I'm going to just briefly mention a program and ask that one of the representatives here from Second Chance come up to talk about it for a moment. We're giving them $2,000 basically to continue a program that works through the food bank so that families that have pets, have had pets, and have had hard times and are utilizing the food bank can also kind of include their pet in the resources they get from the food bank. And the only way this was able to come to be and be kept alive for several years now is by the efforts of all volunteer efforts of Second Chance for Animals. I know our Mayor Kelly and Councilman Kramer often mention them. They are a great organization which do a lot of things. But I'm going to turn the mic over so that you can briefly tell people out there who may want to help contribute food or money to keep the program alive even longer. Please.
Thank you. I'm Bob Azzano, president of Second Chance for Animals, and yeah, this money means so much to us. The food bank program started a few years ago. We just thought if people are going to the food bank for themselves, what are they feeding their animals, their dogs and cats? So we started small. It started very small. We probably are up to close to 200 families. Last year we were close to $16,000 that we spent at the food bank. Thank God we get grants like this to help subsidize that. That all comes from the volunteer efforts. Jen writes the grants. She's great at getting us grants for this, but any monies we get is very well deserved and well used. So we really thank the council for this. It really will go a long way.
So at this point, we'll just present this check, which obviously is not cashable. I believe you already got the money and have been able to use it. And just to mention, Deputy Mayor Francois, Councilwoman Sherman, and Councilman Prasad, who is not here tonight, he's walking in now, are the members of the Community Foundation that were able to do this. And like I said, I know several council members have been very supportive also of Second Chance for Animals. So with that, there you go. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
If anybody wanted a picture, you're welcome. Thank you.
Is there a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on any item of interest which does not have a public hearing of its own. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address.
Bill Connell, 25 Spring Street. Nice job, Second Chance for Animals. They do good work. Second thing, thank Bob LaCourte and everybody who worked on the parade yesterday. I thought it was very nice. I have a 8-foot USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier sitting in my garage that I didn't quite get done, but it will be there next year. Okay. I was a little
Will it be
disappointed.
afloat?
What?
Afloat?
Yeah, well, it's a remote control aircraft carrier. Okay. A kid's car with a big aircraft carrier on top of it. Mr. Vornlocker, could you explain just roughly the shack, not quite a shack, but what we're putting in Middlebush Park? Could you give a brief description of that?
Not yet, no.
Okay. All right.
It'll be presented to the Land Use Committee this week,
Okay.
and then we'll talk in public about it.
Alrighty. I was reading the ordinance for the capital money for the open space, and as a member of open space, I was involved in the conversation. It was, explained to me thoroughly why and what you're really doing it. But I was reading the ordinance today, and it kind of struck me. The ordinance itself has more evacuation points than the Viet Cong. Okay, and I'm referencing, but not limited to. So the question is what does that phrase mean? And at the time when the ordinance is spent, completely spent, is there a one-to-one correlation drawn between what was intended and what was actually spent? So if you have $1,000 for screws, can you figure out whether you had $800 for screws or $1,200 for screws? Or, it just seems a little, the way it's written, it just seems open-ended. And even though I know there's a thorough laundry list and
Well, the only thing I can tell you is our bond attorney writes the ordinance, so I won't speak for our bond attorney as to how it's written. And that's specifically why we have attorneys write them, because they're legal documents. And as far as a detailed accounting, the ordinance covers the expenses that are determined by this council. So the council tells me what to build in a park, just like they did in Middlebush Park, and that's what we go and do. And every expenditure is then approved by council. So in addition to the bond ordinance itself, initially, any expenditures along the way are also approved by council.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, much better.
Mr. Tibbs.
It wasn't you, it was Alice. She got me.
Johnny's Tips, 25 Parkside. I just had a couple updates.
It's been about a week so far.
And Mr. Chase is here too. First of all, I would like to read a letter that the parents asked me to read to you guys. It was directed to Miss Cecile Michelle Caesar, one of the ladies at St. Matthias Church. It simply says, once again, the parents of the Parkside community want to give their admiration and sincere thanks to you for your staff and your staff at St. Matthias Church for the support you gave our underprivileged kids in the Parkside area. They would also like to thank Deputy Mayor Kimberly Francois, Councilman Phil Kramer, Councilman Rajiv Prasad, and Assemblyman Joe Danielson. We deeply for the support they gave for them to participate in the carnival's activities. We sincerely thank you very much. Sincerely, the parents of Parkside. I just thought they wanted me to say that, and I thank you guys very much for me to be able to carry the kids down to Parkside once again. We look forward to it every year. Mr. Bonlacker, your application is forthcoming this week.
Very good.
Thank you very much. But it's been a headache. I mean, it's not been a headache, but everything that I've been asking for in terms of the original proposal, that the office where I can get this done, and thank you, Councilman Sherman. What you had just said, Kimberly just almost gave me the same thing for a weekend, and just simply need a coordination between, I have 3 different pots here, different things here for the youth this summer, and it's going to have to be coordinated some kind of way. This is wonderful. It's just what I anticipated happening, but I don't have where to do it at. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. I was supposed to meet Bruce Medley. Was supposed to meet me last week. They have not yet distributed anything about the pool in the Parkside area. There has been no leaflets, no distribution, no nothing. And it's my understanding that the Human Relations Commission is now going to take part of making sure all the applications get filled out themselves. And they have had I just picked up a bunch of them just now. Bruce Medley is now on vacation. So he went on vacation, so I can't get the application. But Tony went down, and he gave me some applications now. So at least I can distribute, because we don't have no Parkside recreation building. I don't know what that is, but that's what they've been using. We don't have a Parkside recreation.
The community room at the senior building.
Oh, the community room.
You can use
Absolutely.
that.
And they ran several last year, and they'll run several again this year, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to it. Well, the Human Relations Commission is going to help him also.
Well, I am just saying that the recreation department, along with a Spanish-speaking employee, was there on several occasions last year to take registrations. Yeah, absolutely, at the community room at the senior building.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I am to meet Ted Chase. We are to meet. This is very important. We are to meet. We finally got a hold of Mr. John Walker. I got corralled him. I was so glad to see him. And Mr. John Walker is going to come down to the Naaman Williams Park tomorrow at noon, and we're going to try to get our shed up. I had some bad news. I won't be able to be there at noon, but I have Miss Carolyn Smith will be there, my coordinator, with all of the men that would help you guys come down to Mr. Chase. So I'll be coming there as soon as I get finished my duties. What I have to do, I'll be there. And another gentleman called me, a Dr. Jane from Sterling Point. He used to meet you guys over there. He's saying he's interested in developing a community garden in your area. So I told him to come and talk to you guys, and that would be happening to it. Okay? That's all I had. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Ed Potosnik, 163 Home Street, Somerset. Great to be here. I'm president of the school board. Just wanted to come back and thank you again for the Youth Alliance for the work with the school board in making sure our parents were aware of the risks associated with prom. Thus far, I have heard no unacceptable behaviors, which is good to report, and I think that's the community rising to the occasion, which is really to be commended for the partnership with the township. And second of all, I wanted to thank the mayor and others for coming to join us at our council, at our board meeting, where we welcomed, it was a reception, our new superintendent, Dr. John Ravalli, who will begin with the school district on July 1st with a 5-year contract to provide consistency. He has 13 years experience as a superintendent, and he's a very good educational leader. I think we're going to be very happy with his performance. And as you know, we have many vacancies that need to be filled, so his first issue is going to be recruitment so that we can provide excellent education. And then again, I wanted to thank Dr. Councilman Chase for the information on sustainable schools initiatives, which he provided, which we'll be looking at as we go forward with the new superintendent. So just want to come in, say hello as the liaison, and that's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else? Okay. Is there a motion to close the public discussion portion of this meeting?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We're on to council comments. I will start with Councilman Wright this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and we're going to be real brief. As far as the committees are concerned, land use will be held on this Thursday. We'll have our meeting, which comprised of Jimmy Vasanella, Councilman Prasad, Councilman Chase, and myself. The redevelopment meeting will be next month, which is the third Monday. Our next Housing Authority meeting will be the second Wednesday of next month. I'm not quite sure of public safety, so I'm going to swing it down there to our township manager. I believe
We will have a public safety meeting, first meeting of June.
first meeting of June. Thank you very much. And
Tuesday.
part of the last thing that will come up, Councilman Kramer will talk about the roads that'll be paved this year. So that ends my council comments. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, fantastic parade yesterday. I enjoyed it immensely, as we always do.
Thank you. Councilman Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to save the roads, what I have to say about the roads to the portion of the meeting where we're going to vote on paying for the roads. So all I have to say is great Memorial Day parade, and again, thanks to the LaCourts who've taken the reins in that and made it a successful endeavor year after year. Great job.
Thank you. Councilman Chase.
A week ago, Saturday on the 16th, we had a forum set up by Alpha Phi Alpha, which is a service fraternity, and sponsored by the Environmental Commission, called Advancing the Green Initiative. The attendance, unfortunately, was very sparse, but we heard, in particular, an inspiring description of what can be done in making schools energy efficient up to the point of no net energy input from Mark Biedron, the founder of the Willow School, which is up on the Somerset-Morris County border up Route 206. In fact, the Environmental Commission was so interested that they're trying to set up a site visit to the Willow School, and I'm hoping that maybe Mr. Potosnak can come along since the Board of Ed is working on the new school for Claremont Avenue. I know they're trying to make it as energy efficient as possible, but there are funding limits, but perhaps we can find out more about how to do more with less. So I think that's really the only thing I have to report on. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, Carl, the last message I had was that the Land Use Committee meeting Thursday is canceled.
No, actually, Councilman, the Land Use Committee meetings for tomorrow is canceled and rescheduled for Thursday, as we had discussed. So there is a land use meeting on Thursday.
Okay, I didn't read the
That's
cancellation
okay.
notice accurately enough, because they have to send one even if we know that the Wednesday's canceled.
Councilman Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I echo the sentiment. Great Memorial Day Parade. Thanks to Bob and Nancy LaCourte for organizing it. And as the mayor said, it was a non-political event, which was a breath of fresh air, and very well run by our high school ROTC group. And I'm glad to see them stand up and take leadership and charge. So that was great. Second Chance for Animals, in tough times, if we don't at least provide enough food for them, these animals end up getting euthanized, and that is something we're trying to avoid. And they're trying to work with the food bank as well to make some of the animal pet food available to them, so that they don't have to then, come and give their pet to the shelter and end up euthanizing them. So it is a problem, and we feel for them. I wish we could have done more, but the resources are limited, even of the Franklin Township Community Foundation, which is basically works off of the interest that we earn, and that's all we have to give out in a year. The Asian Pacific Islander Month is June, and June 6th there's going to be a event at the Ukrainian Center, and we have sent a proclamation for that. And we did have a meeting of the ad hoc committee of the Catalpa Park with the residents, as well as Councilwoman Francois, Councilman Kramer, Councilman Chase, and myself, and Assemblyman Danielson was also there. And the important thing is that this is not just for cricket. It is a land use issue that is more for providing recreation for our residents, and we are addressing it through the needs analysis that was done. And part of that, the acquisition of Catalpa Park was for that purpose, was for recreation. So what use it gets put to and how it gets used is a separate issue, but the park in itself is a land use issue, and the Land Use Committee will be making its recommendations on June 30th. Now, Councilman Chase met with the residents and got their input, and now we're going to try and have the residents and meet with the cricketers and make sure that all their issues are ironed out. There are meetings scheduled for May 30th and June 6th, and hopefully we can get all that resolved. So with that, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Vasanella.
Yes, thanks to Bob and Nancy LaCourte. I know they've been mentioned several times, but enough can't be said about the effort that they put out in order for us to have that Memorial Day parade to the degree that we have it. And that being said about the parade, as much as I love all elements of that parade, when that band, the Franklin band, starts striking up those parade numbers, boy, that really makes you feel, it just brings a sense of celebration and pride. So, and I think it was just the last few years that we were able to get the entire band out there, or most of them, and thank them for that. Water safety, please take, you can't take enough time to be concerned about water safety, whether you're swimming in a pool, whether you're swimming in the ocean or anywhere. And I know you don't need me to tell you this, but every year I read horrible stories about accidents and fatalities due to water safety, whether it's swimming or boating or riptides or whatever. So just please, as the summer begins, please be conscious of that. And if you see someone not being conscious of it, politely remind them to. And just a reference to the pets, the Second Chance for Animals. I just want people to be aware that that is not township funds in any way. No money comes from the township. For council people, a representative from Heller Corporation and our clerk work as the board members and the secretary to review request from the township, and that is all private donations. And I know people may think that the food bank itself needs food for people, and of course that's the highest priority, but the joy and comfort, and from what I understand, statistics show that, you know, whether it's a young child or a homebound elderly person or anybody else, that the idea of having a pet, especially having a pet that you're close to, and then having to give up, literally give up, because you can't afford to feed them, is a devastating matter. So if you have extra food, dog food or pet food, please donate it or any funds to that program with Second Chance for Animals. Thank you.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have begun our meetings, I think this has just been the first one this year, for the July 4th program. It will be on July 2nd in the municipal complex. Couple of things that might be different this year. We might find a supplier that we can work with on these little moonwalk games for children. So that would make it extra exciting for some of the young ones that are there. I've been helping with the entertainment, as I have been doing over the past few years, and I can at least let out that we will have a Motown band this year as our main group at the event. So they're quite professional from what we hear, and we're looking forward to hearing them. Wanted also to remind everyone that the movie Sweet Georgia Brown will be shown at the Senior Center, 2 showings this Thursday, the 28th. It's about the African American women who served in the Army in World War II, and glad to see that recognition coming to them. If you're interested in attending, please call the rec department at 873-1991 and reserve your space. There'll be a daytime and an evening showing. I think I am the only one who remembered to mention there's a primary election next Tuesday. So I almost got worried that maybe I had the wrong date. I had to check my calendar a few times. Next Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, is the primary election here in Franklin Township. It is astounding how few people come out for that election. Elections in general haven't drawn people out throughout the state, but primaries tend to suffer even more. But let's just buck that trend. Let's get everybody out there and vote at your polling place on Tuesday for the primary. Thank you very much.
Deputy Mayor Francois.
Although I was not able to make the parade yesterday due to family commitments, I did want to take this time to honor the men and women of the armed services who have saved our country and paid the ultimate price to serve this great United States of America. It's really humbling to consider their devotion to our country, and we must continue our commitment to our soldiers, our veterans, and their families. We honor their selflessness and their bravery, and we ask that God will please continue to protect all those who are serving, and that God will please bless all those who have served previously. And thank you all that attended and honored our veterans yesterday. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I will continue the trend of trying to keep these comments brief this evening. Once again, I can't say enough good things about the Second Chance for Animal and their group, the good work they do over there. It's really kind of sad to see all the animals that are in there for no real reason of their own. So please go over there and adopt a forever pet. Let's see, then I go over, there was a small bike ride that was organized in town called the Ride of Silence. I know I brought it up beforehand. Didn't see anybody else there, even though I offered extra bikes, just to kind of memorialize other cyclists that have been hit and killed or hit and injured by vehicle cyclist altercations. And I think it was a success. There were about 35 or 40 riders, and several of the people afterwards asked if this would be an annual event. So the police were so gracious to help us with the safety and kind of running, kind of following in behind us and running in front of us to keep cars out of our way and to kind of bring a little more visibility to it. So hopefully we can continue this on and raise more awareness. On a kind of a, I really hope at some point we can come to a, I know I had brought it up to council before, or to the manager before about, and I heard it at Open Space, there was talk of putting cameras in parks to talk about, to stop illegal dumping. I know the state park in 6 Mile Run, the state park police have caught several people using their kind of, I guess they call them hunter cameras, where they're motion activated. There was a softball game against the police played a few other teams in town on 2 weeks ago, and one of the worst things I had seen was driving right up to it. There was a mountain of roofing material in the parking lot of Lower Inman Field, and it was, we have such good work with the parks and all that. This was really just a black eye on the park, that right in the parking lot there is a mountain of roofing material. So hopefully we can come to some way to kind of stop that. I know I don't want to use police all the time to just patrol a parking lot for illegal dumping. They have bigger things to do, but this has to be fixed. Then to get back, I know last time we were here, someone came up and they were discussing the water system that we have and how New Brunswick has had some issues with, obviously the water is always safe, but they've had some issues with testing and all that. And I saw, since our last meeting, I saw they had another issue where they did not have enough, I believe it was aluminum sulfate added to the water. So their water was, they dumped out a few 100,000 gallons into the sewers that they could not quite get out to the general public. But that was also, once again, not mentioned until several days after. And I don't even think, from reading the article, I don't think they noticed it until a day or two after it happened. So hopefully there is some type of, hopefully that water system will, I don't want to say clean itself up because that just sounds awful, but hopefully they will come to some conclusion, or we can maybe put some pressure on them to do something about it, how they run and manage things. Also to the Board of Ed president over there, I was very happy to have the invite to meet the new superintendent. I have all the confidence in him that he'll do the right thing and bring the schools back up to where they should be. And then back to when, I forget who it was, I think Councilman Vassanella mentioned the Franklin Band playing there. It kind of did, we started walking up Elmwell Road, and when they had the drum cadence, it's the same one they've been playing for probably 40-something years since the school was founded. But it really brought me back to the Franklin days and had a little lump in the heart when it came through. So on that note, over to the Township Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just 2 items. The first is and Councilwoman Sherman mentioned the fact that on July 2nd we'll have our Independence Day celebration here at the Municipal Complex with the fireworks. There has been some confusion as far as the cancellation of fireworks. I will give everyone my assurance that our fireworks are not canceled. However, Somerset County's annual fireworks at North Branch Park, sponsored by the Somerset County Park Commission, are canceled this year. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes from. Unfortunately, our identity crisis here in Franklin Township, all too often we are identified as Somerset. We are not. We are Franklin Township. However, Somerset County's fireworks are canceled this year, not Somerset of Franklin Township. So I just want to reiterate to everyone, our fireworks are going ahead as planned. My second thing to all of those council members who did not complete their online mail training yet, the deadline is June 1st. Please complete your training by June 1st. I'll have another email sent out as a reminder. Several of you are looking at me with those knowing looks that you did complete that training. I will not look down to my left right now at those who didn't, but I'm sure that everyone will have it done by the 1st. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for the reminder.
Mayor, can I interrupt one thing? Councilman Vassanella, who else was in the Memorial Day parade besides you?
Who was in it?
Yeah.
Well,
Hundreds of people.
I was going to say hundreds. Oh, Councilman Wright, Yourself?
You have a son, right?
Oh, yes. My son marched with the Cub Scouts. Yes.
With the Cub Scouts.
And I was going to mention them, but I didn't want the Cub Scouts. And yes, the Cub Scouts march. It's actually wonderful to see them. I actually marched as a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout many, many decades ago.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we had him in there now.
Yes. Thank you, Councilman.
Yes, we wouldn't want to leave that out at all. So, okay. So the following minutes are hereby presented for approval by the Township Council. Township Council Work Session Regular Meeting, May 12, 2015, 7 p.m. Township Council Executive Session, May 12, 2015. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, will you please poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Warrants in the amount of $18,272,527.10 on May 26, 2015 are presented to the Township Council for payment.
Move to
Move to pay. Second.
second.
Okay. Ms. McCarthy, will you please poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Ordinance number 4107-15, bond ordinance providing for the 2015 road resurfacing program in and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The Township appropriating $2,550,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,422,500 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and public hearing is in order.
I move for public hearing.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on this ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address. This is just...
Bill Connell, 25 Spring Street. It's not really about the ordinance specifically, but a question that comes up from time to time with people in the neighborhood, and I just never asked. This may not even be the right venue. What are the standards used to grade and repave the roads? Like in the Willow area, those roads with no gutters or no storm sewers, I know that's an issue because they're very high crown, as opposed to some of the main roads that are a little more broad. But when you're bidding a job out, where do you get your standards from on how much they should grade and how much they should, how thick? Where does that come from?
There's standard engineering practices, and it comes mainly from AASHTO, which I can tell you is the American Association of Highway Transportation Engineering. So there's standards that are design standards that have to be met. They have to meet with the DOT approval on design standards. So that's how roads get reconstructed and repaved based
Is it
on.
common for all? Is it a common standard for all the roads in the town, or
No,
depend on-
absolutely not. Individual roads meet different standards. Depends on traffic, depends on what the road is classified as. Certainly, a road like JFK Boulevard has a much different standard than Bort Road. There's every road is handled individually. As far as the determination as to which roads to pave, there's a process in place where each road in town is reviewed annually by several members of the engineering department. They're graded based on various criteria that engineering criteria as far as the road conditions are concerned, and then given a grade based on those inspections by each individual member of the engineering staff that does it, so that there's not one, but actually, in most cases, 3 to 5 are giving a grade to the road, and that's how we rank the roads for paving. And that's done annually now on an update on those that have gone unpaved from the previous year. But yeah, the standards are really all set. I mean, there's between the Department of Transportation and the engineering organizations that have set
Okay, thank you.
paving standards.
Thank you. Are there any other members from the public?
Seeing nobody coming forward, I move that we close the public section.
Is there a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Is there a motion to move final passage?
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, will you
Mr.
please?
Mayor,
Yes,
discussion.
Councilman Kramer?
Thank you. So I've had the opportunity to speak to a number of citizens lately, and some of them have questioned whether we are paving roads and at what rate we are paving roads. We are paving roads 4 times faster than we were in 2010. They don't believe me, so you're all going to have to suffer, because I'm going to read off all the roads that we are paving this year. Let's see. Let's time it. Berkeley Place, Berry Street, Camner from Berry, Canal Road from Butler through Route 518, Center Street, Cheshire Street, Clark Street, DeKalb Street, Drake, Dunham, Ellen, Franklin through Davis, First, Lakeside through Dead End, Farley, Fuller, Franklin through Bear, Green, Gurley, High Street, Highland, Irvington through Franklin, Howard Campus through Dead End, Jefferson Street, JFK, Bergen through Hamilton, Jericho Avenue, Lakeside, Lenox Place, Livingston, London Place, Main Street, Millstone Road, Norma Road, Pearl, Pierce, Belmont through Elizabeth, Stratford, Sumner, Varga, Voorhees, Welsh's, William Street, Wilson, Treptow through the Dead End, and Wortman. In addition to that, we have added Weston and Weston Canal Road through funds that were underbid, or funds that were left over from other paving. And then, this is not a complete list, but last year on the list were Churchill and Lewis, which we did not get to because of weather, et cetera, and those 2 will be paved this year. So that's $2.6 million plus dollars worth of road paving. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And Mr. Mayor, if I could just interject so that there's no confusion, Councilman. There are 2 Drakes in Franklin Township, Drake Street and Drake Road. The road that you're referring to is Drake Street off of Brookline, not Drake Road off of Winston Drive. So all of you who live on Drake Road, please don't think that we're going to be out paving your street this year.
Thank you. Good point.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Vasanelli?
Yeah, not the nitpick. I just wanted, there was one other thing to clarify. Thank you for that list. It's a longer list than I realized. Highland Avenue, it's a portion of Highland Avenue. We're not going to be doing the whole Highland Avenue. I just mentioned that because I don't want people to get upset if they see only portion.
Yeah,
And JFK, and Foxwood Drive was in there too, I believe, Councilman.
I didn't mention it. I missed that one. Foxwood Drive.
Okay.
Very
But
good.
also JFK, as people have probably noticed, we've been paving it in portions, and we've been getting grant money from the state, fortunately, to do it. We'll be doing a 3rd section, which will bring it near completion, and that's actually going to be done this summer. And the only other thing I wanted to add is not every single street will all be allocated, assuming we pass this ordinance tonight, and as much as they try to just by way of the bidding process and the amount of time during the year, obviously you can't pave once you get towards the really cold months, that a few streets, once they're approved, if for some reason a few can't logistically, physically be done, in 2015 they will be done in my understanding in the first go-around in the spring of 2016. I just wanted to clarify that, not the nitpick, but that's pretty much our road repaving picture, Councilman, from what I understand.
Yes, and Mr. Manager.
Yes.
When, because it is the most complained about street in town, when will the bidding go out on Canal Road?
The bid was already out. It's out now for bid, I believe, if we can look online, but it's ready to be awarded, if it hasn't been awarded already.
I hope awarded contingent on tonight's vote.
Yeah, that's correct. And so it'll be, I think it's actually something that's on the next, scheduled for the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
But yes,
That was
very,
rhetorical.
very soon. It was put to be done so that it would be the first road to be awarded and completed in this year's overlay.
Okay.
Okay. So, was there a motion for,
Yeah.
we move for final passage? Okay. Ms. McCarthy, will you poll the council?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
I want you to know that most of those roads are in the 4th Ward, and we're getting a lot done here and a lot of roads paved, and absolutely I'm voting yes.
On that note, we're up to ordinance number 4108-15. Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements by and in the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township, appropriating $1,466,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,394,400 in bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order.
Motion for public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on this ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address.
Thank you. Michael Williams, 199 Columbus Drive. I'm going to take a quick segue to just congratulate Second Chance for Animals. I think it's a good cause. So I know that was earlier, but I think they deserve a shout out, and also shout out to the Boy Scouts and JROTC. They really did an awesome job. So I got a question, and maybe you guys could help me with Section 8. The $31,000 for acquisition for iPads and construction field use. What's going on with that? Is it?
It's technology acquisitions for our field inspectors so that they don't have to come back into the office to work in the town management software system.
So if I'm to understand you, you're saying it's $31,000 for software.
No, it's for the acquisition of the hardware and software.
So the iPads are included in the
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the breakdown between the two?
You'd have to look at the budget, to be perfectly honest with you. It was all included in the budget that was adopted back in May.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I don't have that here.
Do you know if it's 50-50, 60-40?
I'm going to be honest with you. That's a $57 million budget with several million dollars in capital. I don't remember everything off the top of my head. I can certainly, if you want to contact me in my office, I'd be more than happy to look through it for you.
Absolutely. I just thought that was a little high for iPads and software. So, but yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that. That was it. Thank you for answering my question. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience?
Seeing nobody coming forward, I move that we close the public section.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Kramer?
So part of the reason why we spend the money for those kinds of things is that has helped us in the past to increase efficiencies in town, and that's why we've been able to shrink government by 16% and have a lower budget now than we did 4 or 5 years ago. Sometimes spending a little bit of money up front, or not such a little bit, the large money up front, can save you a lot of money in the long run. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good point. Is there a motion for final passage?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Ms. McCarthy, will you please poll the council?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay. Ordinance number 4109-15, bond ordinance providing for the various capital acquisitions and improvements for the water utility of the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, the Township, appropriating $1,033,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,033,000 in bonds or notes of the water utility of the Township to finance the cost thereof. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order.
Move for opening up for a public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on this ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address.
Seeing nobody coming forward, I move we close the public section.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Is there a motion for final passage?
Motion for final passage. Just like to make a comment that most of these items have been debated and reviewed in our budgeting process. And now this is the actual spending that is coming up, and we're passing the ordinances to allow for that spending. So they've been reviewed, and if you go back to the budget process and review it there, you'll see that they're already there. And it's part of that we're now formalizing, and time to spend the money and get things rolling, get things done. So,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. McCarthy, will you please poll the council?
I need a second. I didn't hear anybody second.
Second. Glad.
Thank you.
I was like, why?
I thought I second.
Oh, I thought.
I didn't hear it, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
That's all.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Ordinance number 4110-15, capital ordinance appropriating $450,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund to pay for the acquisition of vehicles and safety equipment in and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order.
Move for opening up the public hearing.
Second.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This meeting is open for public discussion on this ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand, and when recognized, give your name and address.
Seeing no one come forward, I move to close this.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Okay. Ms. McCarthy, will you please poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance number 4111-15, capital ordinance appropriating $1,037,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund to pay for improvements to and equipment acquisitions for various parks in and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with public law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, June 9th, 2015 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex.
Motion for introduction.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, will you please poll the council?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance number 4112-15, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 13, Boards, Committees, and Commissions, Article 7, Emergency Life Support Delivery Committee, Sections 13-28, Meetings, and 13-29, Coordinator. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing on final adoption on Tuesday, June 9th, 2015, 7 p.m. and at the Municipal Complex.
Motion for introduction.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, will you please poll the council?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois.
Yes.
Mayor Kelly,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay. Items A through N, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption.
Motion for the consent agenda.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, will you please poll the council?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Are there any nominations for those boards, committees, and commissions?
Mr. Mayor, there was a citizen leadership forum that should have been circulated from Ram. He was interested, and so there were a couple of candidates that were interested in the planning board position, and so
That's an-
apparently it hasn't reached everybody, so we
It's a-
defer it to the next meeting.
It's attached to the agenda. If you look where the boards of commission vacancies are, it was an attachment.
Okay.
Don't we usually interview those candidates?
Yeah, well, okay. So we will do our due diligence and interview them, and then maybe next meeting come to a decision.
Okay, excellent. Seeing no executive session, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion is carried. This meeting is adjourned.
We were having too much.